Hey, what's going on, guys? You are now watching the greatest channel that has ever existed. My name is 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘵, and I truly appreciate you guys for being here with me. So, today I'm here with Blau. He is the creator of Phoenix Token. He has worked in many different industries, such as Uber, such as Amazon. And in fact, let me give him the opportunity to introduce himself.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Blau, the co-founder of the Phoenix Protocol, along with my partner 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘦. And like Benito said, I have a pretty long software background. Started off working in for the government doing cryptography work for about 7 or 8 years, and then ended up moving out to Silicon Valley. Worked at a bunch of startups that you've probably never heard of because they all went out of business. Spent some time at Amazon for a couple of years, and then spent some time at Uber for about 4 years working on self-driving cars, and then ended up leaving Uber and spending the considerable amount of my time in crypto, because I feel like that is the technology right now that's the most exciting experience and environment to be working in right now.
Okay, let's get the cat out the bag, the elephant out of the room. How annoyed were you that Pulsechain came out literally a day before your project came out? Or was it a good thing because it was just more focused on the crypto community in large?
I mean, it's kind of, I have like two thoughts about it. So I've been in crypto for a while, so I've actually participated in Pulsechain. So
Mhm.
I've been waiting for it for, just as long as everybody else who's in the crypto community. I've been following Richard since before he launched Hex, back when he was doing interviews with 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘕, and doing those types of talks. So I've known about Richard for, like 5 or 6 years now. So Pulsechain coming out is obviously good, I think, from a crypto perspective, because the design of the protocol is to help reduce the fees on Ethereum, which it looks like it kind of did. But then, yeah, I feel like I was talking to my friends about this. I'm one of the few people in crypto that's giving out timelines and then trying to actually launch on the day that I say it's going to launch. And then
Okay.
Pulsechain comes out of nowhere and it's like, boom, we're launching on Friday. So
Right.
it did kind of steal a little bit of the thunder. And I think the YouTube stream that 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘕 did was hilarious.
Mm.
He pretty much captured my sentiments, not how I would say it, but
Yeah.
he captured it pretty much how I was feeling. I was like, man, we've been trying to launch and get a nice little rollout, and then one day before we launch, Pulsechain comes out and sucks all of the air out of the room. So I would say it's like, it's good on one sense, that the protocol is out, and
Mm.
then it's also good that Pulsechain is out.
Yeah, because maybe it is kind of a good thing because you did actually launch it on Matic first. So you had about a week of practice to see how it was working, how everything is. So it's not like he actually really stole all your thunder. I was even looking at the data. There's a lot of transactions that have been happening on Matic on was it Phoenix.FYI.
Mhm.
So a lot of things have been happening on Matic too. So there's a lot of activity there. So it's not like it just came out of nowhere. It's not like and also if it was if you didn't practice with Matic first, you might have had new problems that were discovered on Ethereum. So it would have looked bad that Pulsechain came out and Pulsechain came out with its problems, and then your chain came out with its own problems too, if you didn't practice with Matic at first. So yeah.
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
did you wanted to copy the 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘕 way? 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘕 launched on other chains first before it came out on Ethereum. You were trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, so one of the conversations that us in the developer community, in the Xen developer community, had before we launched was, what's the best strategy? So I
Mhm.
spoke with 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘕, myself, Jack, Sensu, and a few other people to really try to understand what the best strategy is. Obviously, Xen just launched on Ethereum first, but
Mhm.
um, in the process of it launching on Ethereum, they were able to uh, figure out a couple of things with the site and the protocol and optimize the website. The strategy that DBZen took was a little bit more exciting because first DBZen, they launched on Polygon first, which gave them a test bed to tester protocol, drummed up some hype for launching on Ethereum. Now for us, we had, there were a bunch of other projects that launched pretty much around the same time that we launched, which made it a little bit tougher for us to launch. But I still think that because Fenix is designed where you don't have to actually FOMO in day one to capture this first reward pool party, we still have another 2 weeks to go, or almost 2.5 weeks to go, to have people capture some of the rewards from this first launch. So part of the design of Fenix was made to be forgiving and let people onboard over the course of the first 3 weeks. So I think that that's going to be helpful. The contract came out, and we followed the DBZen pattern, and we're still pretty much following the DBZen pattern. So we're going to launch on BSC this weekend, and then we're probably going to do the rest of the chains the weekend after that. And then we'll be on all 10 chains. And I was just actually talking to Razvan, the founder of DBZen, about what we're going to do about Pulsechain, because now that that's live and Zen relaunched over there, DBZen is probably going to have to relaunch. And so what does that look like? So we need to figure out that part as well.
Yeah. Oh, and not even to bury the lead, can you explain to people exactly what Fenix is, the benefits of Fenix, and what it has to do with Zen?
Absolutely. So I'll start with Zen first, and then I'll dovetail into how Fenix fits in. So Zen is a protocol that's kind of designed to help people understand crypto at a fundamental core level. So the way that Zen works is that you go to the zen.network website, you mint some tokens, and effectively it works very similar to a gas token. So you mint these Zen tokens and you specify a term, so a duration, how long you want to have your mint go. And at the end, you will receive some Zen tokens. Now, the Zen tokens are kind of tied to the price of gas on whichever chain you're operating on, because you pay gas to mint the tokens. What happens is once you have these Zen tokens, the contract has this mechanism in it called a proof of burn. And what the proof of burn allows you to do is transfer value out of Zen into any other contract with a provable function, like doing it on chain. So in a way that's censorship resistant, no counterparty risk. And what that allows you to do is make something else that is value is tied to the price of Zen. So we were the first team to announce a project that would build and use this proof of burn function. And the reason we were able to identify this early on, outside of the Zen core team, is because I saw the code of how Zen worked very early on. So the project that we decided to build is an extension of Zen, and it's called Fenix. And the name Fenix it rises from the ashes of burned Zen, is the quote that we use, right? So what Fenix does is Fenix augments the staking ability of the default Zen protocol. So with Zen, you can mint Zen out of thin air, and then Zen has one other feature on it where it allows you to stake your Zen for up to 1,000 days. What we wanted to do is we wanted to give people that have a longer time horizon a longer staking duration than the 1,000 day default Zen staking amount. So Fenix allows you to pick a long time horizon, and our time is actually 21 years, to basically lock up effectively your derivative of Zen and have a long staking period and allow you to chill and not have to worry about gas fees and prices, and kind of set this really long time horizon out for having your stakes mature. Now, inside the concepts of Fenix, there are lots of pieces in there that are like game theory that we can talk about as we go through. But the real idea behind Fenix is to extend the staking mechanism of the core Zen protocol to be 21 years, or 7,777 days versus 1,000 days that is in the default protocol of Zen.
Why'd you choose 21 years, by the way? Is it because it's a Fibonacci number, or it's just random?
Yeah, we use a lot of like Fibonacci numbers, golden ratios. We use a lot of numbers like that in our system. And I think, from my background, I'm in computer science. And so lots of these questions, when you do coding interviews, they'll ask you to write a little program that calculates all the Fibonacci numbers, and then they'll ask you to write it in another way, and then it'll ask you to optimize it. So a lot of developers, especially in Silicon Valley, are kind of I don't know. You end up doing a lot of these coding interviews, and you end up seeing the Fibonacci sequence all over the place. So
over and over again. Yeah.
yeah. So it was it's a Fibonacci number, 21 years.
Okay, nice. And also it's pretty good too compared to, I guess you would say DBZen. DBZen does his own maximum of 55 years, I believe. And this one is more realistic. Like, let's say that you have kids and you want them to inherit some money. 21 years from now, they're going to become adults finally. And then they're going to actually be able to use the money in a responsible way. Because if you do a max date for 55 years, it might not be that usable to your kids. Maybe to your grandkids it'll be usable, but the time horizon is maybe too long. But it depends what you desire, right?
Yeah, there's actually quite a bit of hedging that you're doing when it comes to doing these stakes, right? Because whichever chain you're staking on, you're also betting that chain is going to be there in the time that your stake ends, right? So you could say, hey, I want to do a 21-year stake, but if you stake it on a chain that's going to be dead in 21 years, then you're not really going to get your value. And it's the same thing for doing a Zen mint or any type of transaction that has some sort of long-term value on that chain. So I think it's up to people to, you're kind of betting with I think what Phoenix will show over time, based on how much value is in it, is the value of this chain, like the long-term viability of the chain, basically, is what that value is going to end up being a proxy for. So it's like a whatever the average stake length is, this basically saying like, hey, I think this chain is going to last about this many more years before it dies out. And chains are going to have to do their work to prove that this chain is valuable or not. And so I think that's what it's going to turn into a proxy for. And so you're really picking your chain, and you're picking the longevity of how long you think that chain is going to last when you're doing your stakes. And you should think about that when you're doing your stakes as well.
Yeah, speaking of stakes, there's multiple ideas of how to do stakes. I'm personally saying that I'm going to do a ladder stake. I made a video about that actually. Ladder stake is when you you do a stake. Let's say you do 10% of your wealth in 3 months from now, and then you do another 10% 6 months from now, the third 10% 9 months from now. That's why it's called a ladder. But I see that when you're coming out with this protocol, there's like a 3-week cooldown, and then a 13-week cooldown, and then a Phoenix copy mint. It's a little bit complicated. Can you explain what is going on? In fact, let me share the screen. Yeah. So how does this work exactly with the launch and then 3 weeks cooldown? I guess that's what we're going through right now in Ethereum, and then the adoption reward active. What does this all mean?
Yeah, so we have some other images that we've posted that maybe we could share. But effectively, what's happening is that when the contract starts, every time you burn Xen for Phoenix, you as the recipient, you get your Phoenix minted in your wallet, but a copy of that Phoenix goes into a reward pool. So what it does is, let's say you burn 10,000 Phoenix, 10,000 Xen, and you get 1 Phoenix. 1 Phoenix will show up in your wallet, and 1 Phoenix will be in a credited account. That's a reward pool that will be distributed in the future to all of the stakers. Right. So if you have that liquid Phoenix, you're not going to get the copy. You're only going to get that Phoenix that was in that credited account if you actually start a stake. And you have to have your stake go over this reward boundary. Now, what we wanted to do is we wanted to have the staking, we wanted to have this reward be something that happened on like a continual basis, right? So that there's something for people to look forward to. But we didn't want it to be something that happens like every day or every week, right? We don't want people to come back every week, because one of the things that we believe in is this long time horizon. And we don't think that you need to be checking your investment every day or couple of hours to see that it's working. So we did it quarterly, which means that 4 times a year you're going to have this what we call a reward pool party. Now one of the things we wanted to do is we didn't want it to start off and make people wait 13 weeks to see the first one happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we did was we shortened it to basically be a 3-week cooldown. So that means before the first one, you've got 3 weeks to basically start your mints. And after 3 weeks, that first reward pool party is going to kick off. So I think the Polygon one is going to happen this weekend. So all of the people that staked in Matic who did their Phoenix stakes, they're going to get their first equity distribution from this reward pool party on this Saturday, whenever the 3-week time is up. Okay. So once that happens, all those copies that were minted from the Xenians or that burned for Phoenix, that all those copies are going to get distributed to all of the stakers. Mm-hmm. And that's going to happen every 13 weeks for the rest of the protocol. So that's what's happening in that context. And so what it does, the
protocol lasts forever, right? The protocol lasts forever. It doesn't have like an end date, kind of like Bitcoin has an end date.
Yeah. So remember, the value of Phoenix is tied to the value of Xen, and Xen is disinflationary, which means that over the course of 8 years, when you do a Xen mint, you're only going to get 10 Xen a day in 8 years. You're not going to get the 60,000 that you're getting when the protocol started. So that means that for you to burn Xen to mint Phoenix, it's going to be very, very hard. You're going to have to burn 10,000 Xen. It's not going to be that cheap. It's not going to be that easy. So while the protocol does last forever, over the course of the next 8 years, it's going to be very hard to get Phoenix. It's going to be increasingly difficult. So while the protocol does last forever, most of the yield in 8 years is probably going to be generated by the stakers internal to the system, and it's not going to be from people burning Xen for Phoenix.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So let me see. This part right here, the 13, well, it's first of all, the first time is 13 weeks, but then afterwards is every 13. First of all, it's 3 weeks, I mean, and then afterwards is every 13 weeks. Is this pretty much a way for people to, receive the benefits of Phoenix without having to wait 5, 10, 21 years from now for their stakes to end? You know how DBZen has ability to get this stuff every 10 a.m. every single day, Eastern time. Is this the same thing?
So what this does is this is a mechanism that allows a couple of the short stakers that are in early to basically capture their principal back. So we don't really want people to do short-term stakes, but we will reward you part of your copy back to you if you do participate in a short-term stake. What happens is when you do those short-term stakes, most of your value actually gets transferred to the long-term stakers because we want people to have a long-term time horizon. So this helps compensate the short-term mindset people slightly for being short-term thinking, but a lot of the value actually gets transferred to the longer-term stakers. So if you have a stake ladder that is weighted heavily towards beyond the average stake length, you will actually be able to capture more of the value, but you have to delay your gratification for longer. So what this kind of helps is for people that are short-term minded, maybe they just want a quick trade. But I think over the long term, the short-term people are going to get weeded out of the system because it's not profitable. It's not that it's not profitable. The return is not as good for being a short-term Xen minter or Phoenix minter. And that's kind of by design of the protocol.
Yeah, because
somebody's asking me to zoom in.
Yeah, zoom in right here.
Yeah, they're saying Command plus or just so that they can see this thing a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay. Even that's better.
There we go.
Yes. This is saying that. So I'm saying, okay, let's say that your stake is 1 year. You will continue to receive these 13-week cooldowns every 13 weeks. Is the amount that you receive, is it going to be the same during that entire year? Or is it going to kind of reduce every 13 weeks because more people are going to be rushing in? And then therefore your proportion is reducing every 13 weeks.
It's based on your shares. So the amount of shares that you have in the equity pool. So if you had 50% of the equity pool, every time one of these 13-week pool parties happens, you're going to get 50% of whatever's in that pool party. Now, one of the things that's going to happen is every time somebody and the only way that reward pool fills up is by people burning Xen for Phoenix. So the more people that burn Xen for Phoenix, the bigger those pools will be. Now, my guess, and I don't know this for sure, but my guess is that next year in January, that's when a lot of the 400-day, 420, 450-day Zen mints are all going to come out, right?
Yeah.
And so when people start claiming those mints, they're either going to claim them and stake them in Zen. They're going to claim them and burn them for DBZen. They're going to claim them and burn them for Phoenix. They're going to claim them and do something else with them. So my guess is that the bulk of the supply that you're going to see come into Phoenix, and you're going to see the pool parties get bigger and bigger, is going to be towards those later time horizons, because that's when there's going to be a lot more liquidity in Zen. And there's probably going to be more protocols by then, but I think things like DBZen, Phoenix, ZenFTs are going to be proven because they've been running for 8 months, a year. And I think that that's when you're going to start to see the pool parties really get big, and then you're going to start to see them taper off again.
Yeah, I'm even looking right here at Xen Turbo. If you scroll down over, you let it load up. This is what you're talking about right here. As time goes on, more and more mints are going to mature, or claimables are going to be here. Available, yeah.
Yeah, look at that day.
Yeah, look at this. This is March 2024, a massive day with 1 trillion daily claimables coming out in just one day. Yeah. So this is really, really, and then this is compared to, what is that, 49 billion that's today. So
yeah,
I was even talking to Jack about this. Like, is he worried that so much Zen is going to rush into the ecosystem a year from now, maybe I guess 9 months from now? And
I mean, yeah,
he said no, because there's protocols like yours, like Phoenix, that will be able to use the Zen that comes out, and then if there's more Zen, DBZen benefits, Phoenix benefits, Zen Doge benefits, right?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the beauties of the way the Zen ecosystem works is that because you can capture this proof of burn, other protocols can be built in the meantime that also capture proof of burn. And what you're going to see, what I hope to see, is that more people who are engineers, who are technical, who can build and have a team. You don't obviously only want technical people. You want technical, you want design, you want product, and build projects and products on this chain, or on this protocol, that can use this Zen that's coming out in the future, right? Because effectively Zen is already done all the onboarding for the users for any project that wants to launch on top of Zen. And you can launch on 11 chains, right? So you don't have to worry about onboarding users. You already know that the users know how to use MetaMask because they had to click to do all the minting. So you don't have to troubleshoot with them. You already know that they're into crypto because they had to have the gas fees to click to do the first steps anyway. So you've got a community of strong crypto native users. And if you have an idea for a protocol that you think is interesting, that has interesting tokenomics, you can launch into this ecosystem, as long as you're following the first principles of crypto, and have a project that can capture some of that Zen. And we're going to see the balance happen. Right now, if you look at the chart that you were just on, DBZen is the #1 product in the Zen ecosystem from a burn perspective, right? So Phoenix, I guess it just recently passed Zen Nights and other, but ZenFTs are up there as well.
Congratulations.
ZenFTs. Thanks.
Yeah.
ZenFTs were running. ZenFTs were the first project that launched on top of Zen, so they have a bit of a head start. But hopefully we can talk to people and explain the value prop of Phoenix and get some more burning going on from the Zen community.
Okay. And yeah, this is really fast. 182, what is that, billion? And it's only been out. Is this both Matic and Ethereum, or just?
This is just Ethereum.
Just Ethereum. Okay. Wow, that's crazy. 182, and it has only been what, 4 days, 5 days?
But yeah, since Saturday. So
yeah.
If you also there's also some really good stats on Zen.pub that show more information about the amount of value that's been burned. Because I think Ethereum has burned twice as much value as Polygon in terms of the Zen burns. So if you scroll down on the left-hand side, you can see right up there, Phoenix ecosystem up a little bit.
Okay.
Up right there. There's only 2 of them. So
yeah.
Hopefully in 3 weeks we'll have 10.
Yeah, so that's your plan to come out with that many. You said you're coming out with Doge next? What's your name? Oh,
This
BSC.
Saturday, yeah, this Saturday is Binance Smart Chain. So,
Okay. Yeah. So what were
yeah.
you talking about?
So if you look here, you can see the total MZen burned, right,
Mhm.
is 7 trillion there.
Yeah.
And then you can see the total value is 297 or sorry, $297,000 of
Yeah.
MZen burned.
Mhm.
And you can see what was burned in the last 24 hours there as well. And you can see how many unique minters. So we have almost 3,000 minters in the
Nice.
Phoenix ecosystem on Polygon, right? And they have the equity supply, the pool supply, everything about the ecosystem is here. And then you can click
Okay.
on the Ethereum one, and let's see.
Is
So you
your
can see
face one
here.
of the people that show up, by the way? Wow. While
Honestly,
anything.
I don't know. I need to ask Joseph. I haven't seen my face. I've seen a bunch of other people though, so it's been pretty funny. Because I'm like,
I
oh wait, I know that face.
yeah.
I think I saw Crypto Profeta one time, and I was like, what is
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
on here? Yeah.
So I remember I was one of the first people that sent it out to him. Said, "Oh yeah, please put my name on my face, my profile there." And then I
Okay.
came to the page and I looked for it. I had to reload it like 100 times. Maybe I'll just be arrogant. Like, where's my face? So then,
Yeah.
like on the 101st time, finally I saw my face. I was like, okay, fine.
Nice.
All the
Nice.
world is perfect now. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm probably on there. I just haven't seen myself yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the Phoenix dashboard for Ethereum. So you can
Okay.
see that there's been way more value burned for
Yeah.
almost a
Half a
half a
million
million
dollars.
dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot less minters. So it's a little bit more centralized in terms of like the amount of people that are burning. Probably a lot. It's basically a lot more whales, I would probably say.
Hmm.
And then you've got all of the same stats that you've got for the
Right.
the Polygon version of Phoenix as well. So it's a pretty cool, like there's cool dashboards. And then at the top, you can actually see the progress towards the next reward pool flush. So you see how
You said at
we
the
have
top?
17 days left until this reward pool is done on Ethereum. And if you go to Polygon, I think it's going to be what, 3 days
Oh,
or 4 days?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Let's see.
you said that I read somewhere that someone has to physically go there and tap the flush button, or maybe they can have a bot that does the flushing.
Yeah. So right now, the flush
Why?
button needs to be manually run by
Mhm.
somebody because you need to pay gas for any transaction, anything in crypto. There's nothing in crypto that's automatic. Somebody
Okay.
has to pay for everything. So
Okay.
if you want to have any, quote unquote, automatic operation, you need to have it set up in a way that incentivizes people to do what you want to be automatic,
Mhm.
right? So in the case of this reward pool, if you had a stake that say ended on Polygon in 4 days, right, which means you will capture the reward pool, you are going to want to press the button to flush the reward pool because that will make your Phoenix supply go up, right?
Mhm.
So the way the system is designed, it's designed to have people interact with it and make it so that it's financially or unit bias in your best interest to press that button.
Okay.
So as the time rolls over, people are going to come. They're going to somebody. All I know it only takes Trevon. It only
Yeah.
takes one person to flush the reward pool,
Mhm.
and then everybody gets to benefit. So it's a one person thing. It's optimized for gas. One person does it, everybody wins.
Right.
So that's kind of
Okay.
how the system is designed.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then your price has been pretty stable throughout the entire time, even during. I know a lot of monetary power has been going to Pulsechain, or at least trying to go to Pulsechain, but your price has
Mhm.
been pretty stable, and
So
it's
what you should
worth
do,
about 2 cents
uh,
actually.
yeah, click on that switch price to Zen. So right at the top of that
This right
chart
here.
in the middle, no, up in the middle by that little uh, X kind of with arrows on it. It says switch to price and Zen. Keep going to the right,
Okay.
right one more. Yeah, that. So if
Okay.
you do it like this, what this actually shows is kind of the peg of
Hmm.
the price ratio of Zen to Phoenix. So remember, when you burn Zen for Phoenix, you get 10,000 Zen.
Yeah.
Burn 10,000 Zen, you get one Phoenix. Right now,
Yeah.
if you look at that ratio, it's almost 8,400, which means that 8,400 Zen to one Phoenix. So what this is showing is how pegged the price, like what that price peg is. So that
Hmm.
means that if you have one Zen, one's 8,000 times that price of whatever Xen is how much the price of Phoenix is. And you can do the same thing on Polygon. Polygon's a little bit of a better chart because it's been running for a little bit longer. But you can really see how that peg is working. And the peg should basically be somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000. Probably closer to 10,000 until this thing gets way, way out in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you go switch to price and MZN, yeah.
Yeah, see, it's growing, growing. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so this kind of just shows you that peg, that price peg.
This is actually
it's
good
probably growing because the pool party is about to happen soon, and so everybody wants to capture that.
Yeah, I see it's growing. This is good news because that means that your Phoenix is getting, I guess, a little bit more powerful than Xen as time goes on. So
this is it. Yeah, this is in relation to Xen.
In Xen terms, do you think that's going to drop though as soon as the pool party happens, or it'll stay above?
Yep.
Okay.
No, it's going to drop because what's going to happen is the pool party is going to be a hyperinflationary event. And so people that are stakers that have their stakes short term, they're going to sell they're going to end their stake, capture their Phoenix, and they're probably going to go to a DEX and sell it. So it's going to drop that ratio.
Okay, awesome.
And then what's going to happen is, but the thing is, when you end your stake, your return on investment increases the share rate. So this is a concept that's borrowed from a project called Hex. So your return on investment increases the share rate, which means that if you sell your Phoenix, or if you end your stake, you will never be able to do a stake and get the same return on investment ever again. You will make it so that's impossible for anybody to ever get your same return. So the people that are doing these short-term stakes, they're going to ratchet it up. So if they ever want to re-participate in the ecosystem, they're going to have to pay more Phoenix and more Xen in the future to get the same amount of Phoenix back in the future.
Okay. In fact, I can look at the, what do you call it? I can look at the formula that's related to that. But before, the Xen FY.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to go to that Phoenix.
Phoenix FY. This is a good website too, Xen FYI. But before I look into that, let me look at some of the subscribers, actually, the comments that I have. How do I put this up? The first one is from 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘦. Hey, fellas, how's it going?
Going on, Zen?
Jordash Johnson actually said to you, congratulations on the launch.
Thank you. Thank you.
Was it nerve-wracking, especially for when it came out on Matic? Was it nerve-wracking? This is a major project. I know you said that you were involved in startups, but this is like a major project that's like very heavily focused on you and your partner. What's your partner's name?
𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘰.
Yeah. So it's very local. It's only like maybe 2 or 3 people that's working on it. So did you feel the pressure, or how was it? Or are you just used to it?
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking because most of the time when you're shipping software, the failure mode is very forgiving, right? There's a popular phrase in Silicon Valley that's called move fast and break things, right? And so if you're just making a mobile app and the screen doesn't load or it's the wrong color, you can just rebuild it and ship the mobile app and have people update. And it's not, no harm, no foul. But when you're talking about deploying a smart contract that is following first principles of crypto, where it's censorship resistant, no counterparty risk, no admin keys, not upgradable, no OA, you really can't. It's like you're building like rocket software where if it blows up, then you've just wasted all this economic energy. So it's not similar to shipping, a website. And so you have to make sure that, you have gas in your wallet, that you're on the right chain, that you have the private keys stored securely. Like there's so many little things that you have to do before you launch this thing that it's pretty nerve-wracking. It's like launching a rocket where if something goes wrong, then it's going to be very visible and very public. So just making sure that you have gas in the wallet, make sure you're on the right chain, make sure that you can do all the stuff, make sure the contract addresses are right. Because if you ship it and I'm not pointing to the Xen contract address, the right one on the right chain, the burn won't work, right? So you've got a lot of little things that you have to make sure are right before you ship. And I think there was a problem actually when I shipped it on Polygon, because I never shipped to mainnet before on Polygon, and so I didn't know there was some flag that I was missing. And then somebody was like, "Oh, you have to put the contract, the contract values into Etherscan or Polygon scan. I had never done that before. So lots of little things. So Polygon was getting my feet wet. Ethereum was a little bit smoother, except the gas prices on Ethereum. I think it cost me $300 to launch the contract on ETH, which is pretty expensive. But but yeah, I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable, but yeah, it's still pretty nerve-wracking to launch this thing because you have to update the website. The RPCs have to start syncing. People are hitting the website and you got a lot of traffic coming and you got to make sure that everything's up and running. So it can be nerve-wracking.
It's pretty much like it is nerve-wracking. Like you're building a plane while you're flying it, pretty much. And then after you build a plane, there's nothing that you can do. You can never fix any of the problems like you were saying before. Yeah, so
and the plane has to keep flying.
And it has to keep flying too.
Yeah.
And your name is attached to it and everything.
Yeah.
Next comment is hello from Uganda. Yeah, actually, I get a lot of international people. My third or fourth most country that I have subscribers from is from India. So it's actually
nice.
It's crypto is very universal.
Yeah. Dennis is cool. He's cool. Talk to him.
You know him?
Yeah, him and I chatted in a couple of on Twitter a little bit. So
okay. Okay, another question. Phoenix is staked and loaded. The biggest question, how many steps to it's a question to my ladder. I personally did I'm gonna do it for about 5 years. So I'm gonna do every 3 months for 5 years. So what is that? 4 times 5, 20 ladders in my step or whatever. So yeah. The cooldown period is much appreciated. Yeah, that's true. Because hype is one of the biggest things in crypto ever. Right. So I know that right now, Pulsechain, we're having problems with the bridges and everything. And that's good. You know, it makes people anticipate. But if we continue to have these problems, the hype is going to die down. And not that many people are going to rush into Pulsechain. Right. So hype is very important, but you almost have to like finagle it a little bit. Make sure that your hype is not overcome by the fact that you have to have such a ridiculous delay. So I guess that's actually a smart idea that you made it 3 weeks instead of 13 weeks for the first flush. Because if you made it too fast, like let's say you did 3-4 days, no one's gonna really care. Oh, 4 days, yeah, okay, that's cool. But 3 weeks is like, okay, I can get a paycheck or stuff like that. You know,
I think what people are gonna see after the first 3 weeks, when they see Polygon's payouts, they're gonna be like, oh, okay. And then they're gonna maybe show up to Ethereum and then want to use Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain or Avalanche, one of the other chains. Okay. So yeah, I think it's gonna be people will be pleasantly surprised. Let's hope.
Okay, nice. Jordash also asks, can we see the equity percentage on active staking page?
Yeah, there's some things that Johad and I are trying to figure out in terms of putting information there, but not putting so much information that it's kind of crazy. So we might put, if they want to see the total, let me talk, actually, Jordash, find me in Telegram and we can talk on there. Because there's a bunch of things that we want to add that people are asking for, but we want to make sure that we add them in a way that is not clogging up the active staking page UI, because you can put a lot of stuff on there and it can look kind of crazy.
Yeah, because I was there was a page where you could type in the amount that you're staking and then it'll show you a preview.
Yeah, it's on the stake page.
Okay, yeah, this is it. Yeah. So let's say that you stake 100 Phoenix to make it easy, and you stake it for 365 days. You stake it for a year. You will receive.
You're not connected, so it doesn't.
I'm not connected, so it's not.
Yeah. It uses the chain calculator to figure out what it would be.
But actually, I think I can connect it. Let me see. But let me see. Okay, I know they can't see this page, but I'm going to type it in, and you do 365 days for 100 Phoenix. You receive about 74 Phoenix. So in a year, your ROI is about 73%, right? And that also depends on how many people join, right?
Yeah.
And it also depends on the amounts that you stake, right? The bigger
you stake. You know what you can do? Go to phoenixcalc.com.
Phoenix. Okay.
So we built this a week ago, which kind of helps people see what is going on with the staking and the dilution and how the system incentivizes longer stakers and shorter stakers. So if you go in and you type, let's say you do stake for 100 Phoenix in there, and then do a stake term for 100 and 365 days or something, and then add that stake, you'll see what your payout will be. So you'll see that the yield, the amount of shares you have is 581. You'll see that the payout is 101.61 because that's the inflation rate of Phoenix. But what you don't capture is the reward pool. So if you go in the reward pool and you put 100 in there, right? Because you would have burned 100 Phoenix to get that, and you click update.
Reward pool?
Yeah, click update. So now what you see is the payout for that first stake is now 201 because you're going to get your yield over the course of that year plus whatever's in that reward pool divided by all of the stakes that are in there. So you can add you can keep adding more stakes. So add like 4 more or whatever. Just keep clicking add stake. Keep going. Right? So you see what's happening? As more stakers are coming in, your payout is going down because you're sharing that reward pool amongst everybody, right? So you're competing, each one of your stakes is competing against yourself and against all the other stakers. So the more, if you have a stake ladder that's very small, that's very granular, you're going to dilute yourself in the reward pool sense. Although you might be okay because the reward pool is going to be 4 times as big, right? It's not going to be 100, it's going to be 400 because you're going to burn more Phoenix or more Xen for Phoenix. So
so it's 200.
Yeah, so now you're back up to what it was originally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in fact, if like you said, if you're competing against yourself, you're not really competing against yourself. You're getting both. Let's say you do 2 stakes. You get the first 2 stakes. They're just for you. Meanwhile, this is a 3rd person. This is a 4th person. They only get 201. Meanwhile, you get 402.
Yeah. Now where this gets tricky is when people start doing longer stakes. That's when you start getting diluted. So if you add a 0 to the end of that, or do that. Yeah. Now you can see what's happened to you make the reward payout 500. Let's just assume that everybody's burning and So now you see that before your payout was 201. Now your payout is 195. So it's still more than the Phoenix you put in, but the longer stakers are diluting the shorter stakers. Right. Because we want to incentivize time and market, which is one of the 3 principles that we talk about on the Phoenix in the Phoenix Light paper. So some of these longer stakers are going to start diluting some of the shorter stakers because they're going to get more shares for their stake versus a shorter staker.
Okay. No, so that's really good. That's really similar to Hex, pretty much, right? The more that you stake, the more reward that you get. The longer that you stake, the more rewards that you get also.
Yeah. This is a little bit different because there's a little bit more of a there's like a carrot and a stick thought process where the carrot is something that rewards you and the stick is something that punishes you. This has a little bit more of the stick characteristic because in Hex there's an OA and the OA absorbs all the losses from everybody. In this there is no OA, so everybody is actually actively competing against each other. So that is one of the differences between this and Hex. Hex has the OA, which is allowed to absorb the losses. This has no OA. So there's nobody to absorb the losses. It's the shorter stakers that are going to get diluted by the longer stakers.
And the losses too are pretty much, if you decide to end early, you also are penalized too for that. Yeah. So
you had that chart up. There are penalties for ending early and there are penalties for ending late. So if you are a staker and you end your stake early, there's a percentage that you will be penalized based on a formula that we have in this chart right here. So if you end your stake basically before 71% completion, assuming that everybody has the exact same stake length, this is just a simulation. This is not actively how it's going to work, but assuming that this is an average length stake, you have the average shares. If you end your stake at 71%, you will get your principal back. So, and then if you end your stake late by 143 days, you will also get your principal back. But this doesn't factor in reward pool parties. This doesn't factor in other people that lose their keys and forget about their stakes, or let their stakes go long and then their stakes get ended and then their equity gets redistributed into the pool. There's a bunch of different games that affect how this chart would render in real life. And so that's what that Phoenix calc was designed to do, is give you the information to show you what happens as things are balancing. And then you would have to apply this formula to, whatever your stakes are.
Okay. And what do you plan on doing with launching on Pulsechain? Like, first of all, what are your thoughts on Pulsechain during its launch? You're happy, you're annoyed, you're sad. The bridge actually came out faster than I thought it was going to come out. But of course, now the bridge is having a lot of problems because it's very clogged. What are your thoughts on Pulsechain in general? And then what are your thoughts on launching on Pulsechain?
I think Pulsechain is it's a complicated set of projects and products that all have to be synchronized together to make the launch go successfully, right? You have to launch the blockchain, get the validators up and running, right? So those are two projects. Then you've got to get you've got to run the automated market AMM fixer bot, to fix all of the prices so that all the ratios are fixed. Then after you do that, you've got to get the bridge working. You've got to get the DEX working. You've got to get the block explorer working. There's like 10 or 15 projects that all have to be working all at the same time. And then you also have to get the RPCs up and running. The things that, this is stuff that nobody even cares about, but like there has to be something that's reading from the chain, and nobody in the Pulsechain community is paying for that. Whereas in Ethereum, you pay for that through some way. So there's a lot of stuff that has to get working. And it all has to be working at the same time. And there were some changes that were made to the protocol to make it work the way it works. So I would say the launch is going, pretty well. Obviously, the bridge being stuck is unfortunate. And there's probably a couple of technical things they could have done to help unstick the bridge. But there are other solutions coming in play, right? The community is helping. Right, so Dipcatcher is writing a way to bridge ETH in and Pulse out. There's Trust Swap is building something to basically onboard its 4 million users, which is effectively like a bridge. There's Portal X, which is coming out, which is effectively a bridge. To swap, a cross-chain DEX, so that's effectively a bridge. So there's other bridges that are showing up. And as soon as the bridges start showing up, you'll start to see the values settle down. And the more bridges in and out, the better it is. It reduces the risk of having to rely on one party to make sure that your value is going in and out. And I'm sure more stuff is going to come that, I haven't even mentioned. So there's lots of stuff that I think is going to kind of alleviate this bridge pressure. But right now, I'm kind of stuck.
Yeah, I even heard that Jack say earlier today that it might have been an executive decision to make the bridge as slow as it is. It's not necessarily just congestion. That's what the rumor is. And that if you make the bridge congested, it's the same like the Apple iPhone launch. Remember like 7-8 years ago when people would line up for days for the iPhone? That's the same exact thing. So it's a mix between hype or, people just being annoyed with the delay.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm not the type. I don't really have the level of like what there's that quote where it's like I don't think that anybody's thinking like that highly. I think it's just a straightforward like this thing is not working how it's expected to go. I don't think anybody's like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna set up the bridge and then we're gonna make it get stuck. We're not gonna let any transactions go through. Let the side build up and then we're gonna open the floodgates. I don't think anybody's thinking like at that level. But
truth is,
I'm not a conspiracy theory type guy, but you never know.
Yeah. I think this is what you were talking about right here. With Trust Swap. Yeah, it's going to launch on Pulsechain by a mile.
Yeah.
Okay. So this should be really interesting. We will okay. And that's the funny thing about Twitter right now. Twitter is absolutely ridiculous. They have no mercy on you, right? So it's a very fast ecosystem, fast social media, right? So you can find the fastest news, but you can find the fastest haters as quickly too.
I think there's this quote, or there's this axiom called 𝘊𝘰𝘯𝘦 razor, and it says, I think it's also from Napoleon or maybe one of those two, but it says, never ascribe malice to that which can be adequately explained by incompetence. Right? Like I don't think anybody's like actually trying to break anything. I just think it's just not working, and people are just trying to figure it out. And this stuff is complicated. You know, like even when I'm launching my stuff, I'm just launching one contract on one chain at one time, and my stuff is breaking. To try to get it up. So for the level of complexity that they're working with, they have a lot going on.
Yeah, it is very difficult. And I think most people agree with that, even like a year ago when everyone was complaining, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I don't think people were complaining that it's difficult, because it is extremely difficult. I'm a developer too, and I tried doing crypto development. It's definitely harder than regular development, I think. Maybe that's because I'm not used to it. I haven't studied it that long, but it's definitely very complicated. So I think people were more annoyed with the dates, the launch dates that were, the 2 weeks. It's coming out in 2 weeks, coming out in 2 weeks, and the delays pretty much. So that's what it is.
Yeah, that stuff is tough too.
Zen wise, okay. In the reward pool, do we have to hit claim, or can we just let the rewards add up? Yeah, you have to hit claim, right? Or else you'll get a penalty if you wait too long.
Only one person has to flush the reward pool for every pool party. The person who does that, there's actually a list that gets collected of who flushed the reward pool, how much was in there, how much Phoenix was in there, and it kind of keeps track. So if somebody wants to build a project on the reward pool flushing from Phoenix, you could definitely do that. There's an object in there that has that. But only one person has to do it, and everybody benefits. So if you're familiar with like the buy and burn from PulseX, or the buy and burn from, I guess that idea was copied from PancakeSwap, right? PancakeSwap has a buy and burn, and it's very similar to that. But in PancakeSwap's case, it's manual. You have to rely on the PancakeSwap team to do it. What Pulse did is they just automated that buy and burn. So it's very similar to the Pulse way, where anybody in the community can run it. The only people that benefit are the stakers. So my guess is that somebody who's a staker who's got gas will run it to flush it so that they can collect their pool party.
Okay. And this is a last comment for now, at least. Speaking of errors, did Phoenix ever fix that error message? We couldn't see our staked balance. I actually had to uninstall MetaMask, but perhaps there's an easier way. Do you know what he's talking about?
There were some like loading problems where stuff was becoming invisible, and I worked with a couple of people in the community last week, and I think we got all of those issues addressed. People that had very long stake lists. I have an account where I made like, I think 40 or 50 stakes. And in that account, there were so many stakes that the stakes where everything was just disappearing. And so we ended up fixing those.
Okay. Yeah, I know we have to end soon, so I'm just going to ask a few more questions.
Yeah, for sure.
The most important question that people care about, when Lambo, when Moon, sir, when it comes to your coin is 2 cents right now. What are your price predictions? What's your price predictions for the top of the bull market? I guess that's the end of 2025. What do you guess is going to happen?
I mean, I think if you've been in crypto for a couple of cycles, you see these 4-year pretty much post halvening bull runs. So the halvening is next year sometime, right? So 2024. So maybe like the end of 2024, crypto will be, if it does what it's done the last 5 times or 4 times, it'll be booming by the end of 2024. December 2024, it'll probably be mania, and then some blowout will happen. But one of the things about all of these tokens that are in the Xen ecosystem is that they're all very tightly coupled to Xen.
Right.
So if Xen pumps, like if you watch the chart, if you see Xen go up, you'll see Phoenix go up. You see Xen go down, you'll see Phoenix go down, and DB Xen and everything.
Right.
So we need more burners in the system to absorb all this future supply that's coming in, because Xen is hyperinflationary right now.
Right.
And so as people build products or explain the current products in a better ways that resonates with people, I think that's going to help make the supply of Xen go down. And then, for us in Phoenix's land, we take that Xen off the market and then we lock it up for 21 years, right? So that means there's no sell pressure for that time while it's locked. And so that's kind of how we think of the value proposition that we're adding. But as long as people keep coming up with burning protocols like the XenFTs and DBZen and XenDoge, I think that it's going to be good to absorb some of that inflation that's coming out on the market from the base protocol.
Yeah, people are coming out with new protocols every day. I saw another one called Xel, XEL. That's also
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that. I haven't had time to look into it because I've been trying to, keep our site up and running, but I did see Xel come out.
Even me, I was trying to make a video about it, but I was like, oh, I have to worry about Pulsechain. I have to worry about XenDoge. I have to worry about 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘦, although 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘰 is like a proxy, but 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘰 burns DBZen, right? And then DBZen burns Xen. So it's almost, and I'm guessing even during the bull run, this might be a slight problem or maybe a good problem where too much Xen is being burned way more than is being created. So there's not even that much Xen to burn to do anything, right? I mean, the good thing is that, the price is going to skyrocket, but you can't do much with your protocols if not that much Xen is available in the first place. But, we'll see how it is when we get there.
Yeah. And that's all going to be good for X1 anyway. So
yes, there you go too. Right. So X1 is coming out also.
Yeah.
Maybe this time next year or so. Okay. So besides cryptocurrency, I always ask this to all people that I interview. Tell me something interesting that you do, or something interesting about you, or a hobby that you like.
I'm actually really big into snowboarding. So
really nice. Okay.
Yeah. So the first time I met Jack, it was actually up at Lake Tahoe with Xenzoo. I think Xenzoo posted a video of it.
Where do you live, by the way?
In California, in the Bay. Yeah. So I was up there and I was with Xenzoo, and I have this ridiculous snowboarding outfit on or whatever. And I'm sure they looked at me and they're like, okay, this dude is not gonna be able to keep up with us or whatever. And I was cooking. Like I've been snowboarding for 10 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
15 years now. And so, I really, really enjoy it. I usually go up to Canada every year to go snowboarding. Like I really, really enjoy it. So there's a lot of things about me that if you just looked at me, you'd be like, okay, he's not into any of that. And a lot of things that you would assume I'm into, I'm not into at all.
Right.
So I was out there and I was with Jack, and Xenzoo was like, he's doing spins in the air. And I was like, yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So I was hitting all the jumps and everything. So they didn't expect that, I would say, from me. And I would say a lot of people don't expect that. But I'm into all of these alternative sport activities. So that's a really big thing that I'm into. So
alternative sports. I saw this sport where you just stand there in front of each other and then you slap each other, and whoever gets knocked out there. And it's so, I thought like, this is so stupid. It's not going to catch on. But every single weekend I see more and more people retweet it. So it's just growing.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
I would say the things that I'm into are more sports where it's a you versus yourself type of skill thing. So like snowboarding or golf or like stuff like that, not competitive things like, basketball or slapping each other in the face or, anything like that. So
got you.
It's more of like a mental thing.
Yeah, definitely. I've even tried snowboarding. I've done it about 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah.
I did it. I have, there's a mountain range here called Wisp. But I live on the East Coast though, right?
I used to go to Wisp a lot.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. I used to live in DC. So
okay. Yeah.
I used to go to Wisp, Whitetail, Wintergreen,
Round Top.
Round Top. What's the third one?
Yeah.
Round Top. What was the other one?
Round
Liberty.
Top, Whitetail, and
Liberty.
I'm sorry?
Was it Liberty?
Liberty, yeah.
Yeah, there. I've gone to all those places.
But yeah, with snowboarding, I noticed that like maybe because I keep falling, every single time I fall, I have to sit up, and then at the end is like it really works your abs out, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, shout out to me. I started going to CrossFit a few months ago, so I was like, finally, CrossFit is actually useful.
Nice, yeah, nice. So yeah, that's something interesting about me, I guess, is I snowboard a lot.
Okay, nice. So I guess, so what are your next steps, besides like launching in BSC? Are you thinking of doing any other projects? Like maybe you're starting a wallet? I know with Ledger coming out, unfortunately, Ledger announced that they were going to send their seed phrases to like multiple companies at the same time, as if that's supposed to make it better. But what other projects are you thinking of working on?
So
on Phoenix.
Yeah, so the thing that's interesting about that Ledger thing is that when I used to work for the government, we actually used to do that. There's a process, it's called a KRA, because I literally worked in cryptography for 7 years. There's this thing called a KRA, which is a key recovery agency or a key recovery agent. And what it's designed to do is for people that lose their keys, right? So in the military, you've got all these generals, everybody's mandated to send encrypted emails to everybody else. If you lose your keys, you basically lose all of your email. And most people are not good at maintaining their keys or their password or their common access card. So you have, there's a backup of every single person's private keys somewhere, in a place that's not easy to get to, but you can get all of them. And the reason they do that is because people can't remember their password, or they lose their keys, or, something happens. And so all Ledger is trying to do is they're trying to make it easy to onboard the next 100 million people, because most people that use crypto, most people are not going to use crypto if it is as fatal as it is right now. If it is, you need to be fully self-sovereign and take your seed phrase and put it on a piece of metal and bury it in the backyard and do all this stuff. People are not going to use crypto.
Right.
So what they're saying is, hey, we're going to take your seed phrase, generate, use multi-party computation, generate 3 sub seed phrases, send them to different companies. And then if 2 of those 3 companies agree, then you can get your password back. It's basically the forgot password button. That's literally what they're building. And you've been able to export your private key from your Ledger for since I did it in 2017. I got a script, I pulled a private key off of a Ledger. So that the thing that they're offering is not new. They've been able to do that. It's just that the service that they're building and the way they communicated it was absolutely abysmal. So everybody thinks that there's some new functionality, but it's always been there. And they need that functionality there, because if I build a new blockchain and I use a new hashing mechanism for signing keys, and I want my Ledger to work with it, Ledger needs to be able to update the signing mechanisms inside the secure enclave so that I can generate my private keys and generate my HD wallet and all that stuff. So they need, the thing is working. Nothing changed about how the thing is working. They just are not doing a good job, or maybe most people just don't understand how it works. They didn't know how it worked in the first place. So there's a lot of people that are mad about something that's always been there, but they just didn't know how it worked. So
you say that you could have done this in 2017 where you export your keys?
Yeah, I did it. I literally exported my private key from a Ledger wallet in 2017 with a script.
Is this only for Ledger, or is this for all hardware or most hardware wallets?
I don't know. I didn't have other hardware wallets. I think I didn't have a Trezor. I bought a Grid Plus at one time, but it was like the Grid Plus was so safe that it actually broke in transit. Like, I guess the UPS guys over here are too aggressive, and it has there's different levels of security for a hardware security module, which is what's inside the Ledger and the Grid Plus and the Trezor. And so there's certain levels where if it shakes enough, it will disable the key, so you can't use it. And Grid Plus has that. And so I guess the FedEx guys in California are really aggressive. So they mailed me one and it got here and it was broken. So I sent it back. And then they mailed me another one and it got here and it was broken. And I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm not I don't want a hardware wallet where if there's an earthquake in California, all of a sudden I can't get access to my crypto. It's not that serious. So I don't use them, but you can have different levels of security, but most people, they just want to be able to use their crypto and, send it and get it. And if they lose their keys, get their stuff back, because people are losing keys more than they're getting hacked.
That's also
by
great too.
Other stuff.
Yeah.
So you need effectively a forgot password button for crypto. It's just, I don't think anybody's really come up with a holistic service that explains to people like, hey, this is who's holding parts of the key and this is what you need to get it back. Gnosis kind of does this, but it's still chain dependent.
But if you can export your keys, if someone gets your wallet, can't they export your keys out of your wallet too?
You say you've
doing
this
since 2017, right? So couldn't
they need the pin?
Oh, they need a pin. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you can't just run the script. You have to be you have to be able to log into the wallet and then get it out.
Okay, gotcha.
But you need the pin to do everything. You need the pin to sign a transaction. You need the pin to sign a signature. So
Yeah.
but you can get it out if you really want to.
I think what Ledger did is actually really smart, but what they should have done was, I guess, come out with a new wallet, or, you know, come out with a totally different system. Because if they come out with a new wallet, it will just communicate to people better that, oh yeah,
Yeah.
our regular wallet, you know, is very, very secure, but this new 100 million people wallet, you know, the mass adoption wallet, okay,
Yeah.
it's easier for you to do that.
Yeah.
And they would have, no one would have cared. They'll be like,
Yeah.
that's just
you can buy this old Ledger wallet
Mhm.
that does this, or you can buy this new one that like easy to use thing. Not say, hey, we've got a service now and we're gonna take this feature that's already been in there, but we're gonna use it for, you know, exporting your private keys. So,
and in fact, they have a wallet called Stacks. Let's see.
Didn't they buy that?
I actually already bought it.
Okay. Oh, that's the one with the screen on it, right?
Yep.
See, I can't do that. It's too much risk for me. I need my wallet to be as dumb as possible. No Bluetooth, no screen. I want it to just be I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can literally buy it from Best Buy right now for $280. So
okay. Yeah, I ordered 2 of those and then I canceled my order.
Oh really?
Yeah. Because it's just like I don't want something where if the screen goes away, then I can't use my thing anymore. I think it looks nice, but I'm so, you remember my background is in security and risk.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm just thinking of how many ways can this go wrong. So I think I canceled my order and bought like another Ledger Nano or something like that. But I mean, it looks cool.
It does look
I don't know. Maybe I'll buy one just to play with it, just to see how it works. I do like.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. I bought it to play around with it, show it off to people. Be like, oh, this is the iPhone for Ledger wallets, pretty much.
Yeah,
that's really how people are gonna treat it.
Yeah, that's good. Good marketing.
It's good marketing, really. Yeah.
Yeah. The other question you were asking is like if I'm thinking of stuff in the future, and one of the things that has actually been crossed my mind is, you know, I've been in crypto for a little while, and so in my background, when I was at Uber, I used to work on the human experience team at Uber ATG, which is a self-driving division of Uber. And so I worked with a team of a couple of people, and we built the user interface for the self-driving cars for Uber that were in Pennsylvania, Arizona, and San Francisco. And so I really care about how people use products and the interactions that they have. And one of the things I want to build is some way to kind of make crypto usable for a lot of people, because I think it's still very complicated. And even for me, who's, you know, technically savvy, there's a lot of stuff that I have to manage and maintain that can all be automatic. And so if we can have some sort of, you know, product that makes it really easy to do all of this stuff, keep track of all these Xen derivatives, right? Because right now there's no real way to do it other than, I mean, you can go to like DBZen or Xen Turbo, but make it easy to do that stuff on the go. You know, make it easy to keep track of, you know, if you got stuff on Pulsechain and Ethereum, how do you keep track of all of that? You know, make sure that all that stuff is wrapped up and show you the value of what's inside these protocols. Because I think the limitation for a lot of wallets now is they'll say like they'll say you have 10 Phoenix. It's like, okay, but what about the Phoenix that's locked in the protocol? Or you have 50,000 Xen. Okay, but what about the billion Xen that's being minted every day that's locked in the protocol?
Yeah.
Or you have, you know, like 100 hex. Okay, but what about the 1,000 hex that's staked in hex? Or, you know, you're doing something. And a lot of these sites, they don't really give you visibility into the protocol. I think that that's something that's very interesting that I've been kind of thinking about a lot lately.
So you're pretty much just trying to make it, because Xen Turbo does a lot of that stuff, right? But you're just making it easier for the masses to get into Xen Turbo, because even me getting into Xen Turbo, it's an awesome website, right? But I have to get a MetaMask, and then I have to copy and paste my MetaMask address into Xen Turbo, and then I have to do that. Let's say I have 100 wallets, I have to do it 100 times, right? And then it only works on my desktop. It doesn't work on my cell phone, right? So, or I guess it could work on the cell phone, but it's cumbersome to do that. So you're pretty much just trying to make it for the masses. And that's what a lot of websites did. Like FTX kind of did something like that. But the problem with that is that it's centralized, right? So
yeah. So how do you do this in a way without counterparty risk, right? Where you
Yes.
make it so that the user still owns everything.
Mhm.
You as the owner, it's not FTX where you have to give your stuff over. You just you just say, hey, this is my public key, track this. Hey, this is my public key, track this, you know?
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, this conversation was really awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, or I appreciate you doing the interview with me. It's really cool. I think your project is going to do very well. Like we saw before. It's already done better than ZenFT, and it's only been out for 5 days. So I know it's going to go crazy. And I mean, I guess technically the bull market has just started, but it hasn't really gone mainstream yet. My mom hasn't asked me about it yet, too. I remember my mom was asking me about it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And she asked me to come and download what's the Zuckerberg one? Not Zuckerberg, the Winklevoss twins, Gemini. She asked me
Gemini.
To,
yeah.
she asked me to download Gemini on her phone. I was like, how did you even hear about Gemini?
Yeah.
So it hasn't reached that, but when we get there in 2024, 2025, I'm sure this project is going to do absolutely amazing, and the whole Zen ecosystem too.
Yeah,
it's going to do great.
Yeah, I know crypto is booming when my dad sends me a message about it.
Yes.
My dad's like, Joe, what's FTX? I'm like, what do you know about FTX? That's how I know we're at the top.
Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate this interview that we had. Yes. So we should definitely do this again, though.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you having me, and yeah, launching on a couple more chains, and yeah, definitely follow up and chat in the future.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
See you.
All right, Benito. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
And actually, one quick thing. If you want to keep up with some of the updates to Phoenix, follow me on Twitter at Joe Blau. And also, if you want to keep up with the specific protocol updates, we have a Telegram, t.me/Phoenix_protocol, and that's FENIX. And then our Twitter is also the same thing, twitter.com/Phoenix_protocol.
Okay.
And then you can find our DApp at phoenix.fyi if you're looking to burn some Zen for Phoenix.
Let me see.
Yeah, it's right there under my name.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here's his web. Joe Blau at Joe Blau on Twitter. And here's all the. Oh, here's your website too, right? Okay.
Yeah. The Phoenixes.
Okay. Awesome. And here's the white paper too. Okay. Cool. All right. Great. Thank you again.
All right. Yep. Thank you, Benito.
All right. See you.
Yep. See you.